Hey everybody, my name's Derrick Ivey. I'm a board certified clinical hypnotherapist, intuitive, and researcher. And today I wanted to come on and talk about past life regression. So I don't know if you've been in these spiritual realms for any length of time. I'm sure that you've heard of a past life regression. And if you haven't, that's okay because I'm going to break it down. So, in hypnotherapy, a regression is when we take the client back through time. And a regression can be an earlier time in this life, it can be even an earlier time in this day. And past life regression is moving to those older timelines that are way back in time in even past lifetimes and really looking at the energy that we experienced there and reframing that. And reframing is taking something and looking at it in a whole new way. Now, past life regression is very, very therapeutic. And there's a few different ways that people relate to past life regression. Some people they can't fully put all their energy behind believing that, and that's fine. It can still be a very therapeutic process to go into those regressions, whether or not they fully believe in that or not. So I always am right there with my client and their belief system. So sometimes a lot of benefit can come through it, even looking at it in a metaphorical way. There's other people that have had experiences that prove to them that past lives are absolutely a real thing. And I'm also in that camp personally because I've had many past life regressions. I've learned many things. I've let go of a lot of energy through doing my own past life work. So, the first thing I want to talk about in regards to past life regressions is the subconscious won't always take you there if you're not ready to receive that information, if it's going to be too overwhelming for your body because our bodies can only hold a certain amount of light from where we're currently at in our growth process. So if you just barely started healing, your subconscious has this protective mechanism that is going to protect you from having to go into something that is too much too soon because some of these scenes that do come through in past life regressions are nothing to take lightly. Sometimes these regressions take people back to scenes of a death in a previous lifetime or losing a really dear family member in a previous lifetime or being burned at the stake for being a healer or there's a wide range of different experiences that people have in the past life regression space. So if you're thinking about getting past life regression work done, what I'd like you to understand is that there's no guarantee that the subconscious is going to be able to take you directly back to a past life. Maybe there's many, many things that still need to be healed and developed from this lifetime. So it's not going to let you go that far until those layers above it are cleared off. So usually when there's energetic blockages, energetic restriction in the energy field somewhere, we can know that the top layers of that energy that move fairly quickly or it's fairly obvious where that energy is coming from, that most likely is from this lifetime. Now, if something is from a past lifetime, there's going to be a extremely deeply set quality to that energy. So if you think about cement or you think about something that's really heavy and really firm, has a really firm grip. So that would be a lot of past life energies are very deeply ingrained into the energy field. Now, a lot of times the issues that people faced in a past lifetime really, really affect them in their current present reality because their reality is filtered through that lens of trauma that might have developed in a past lifetime. So they might, there was a client that I worked with a long time ago, and she was a healer in a past lifetime, and she was actually punished for being a healer because she went against the order of that time. And if I remember right, it was back in kind of colonial times or something. And what she was doing, other people didn't like. And it was a very, very emotional experience for her as she released that energy from the past lifetime. And then it was a very, very powerful shift and a very powerful transformation once she realized that that energy was there, that that energy was impacting her. Because about 60% of solving a problem is just seeing that and knowing that there is that issue at play. um because then we can it brings it more out of the shadow. It shines the light of consciousness in on whatever the experience is, and it's a lot harder to let that pattern play out unconsciously when we're aware of what's going on. Because if we're aware of what's going on, we that gives us the contrast. And if we are able to take ownership of that energy and take ownership of our own personal well-being and healing process, then we have a chance to shift it. Then we have a chance to change, because that contrast shows us so much what we don't want that it shows us what we do want. So, what would cause someone to want to come in for a past life regression? That is, a lot of times people will have these knowings. They're walking down the street, they meet someone, and they immediately know, I know that person. I don't know that person. It doesn't make sense because I've never seen this person before, but I know them like I know them. And have you ever been around someone who it just feels like you've known them for so many years? And it's so easy to connect with them. It's an easeful, it's a flowful process. Most likely there may be some type of past life connection there. There's also such things as past life contracts. Past life contracts are when your soul in another lifetime made an agreement with another soul that there was energetic work that the two of you were supposed to complete together. There was growth that the two of you were supposed to experience together. And you would meet again in this lifetime in these bodies to alchemize that energy and ultimately to serve for the greatest growth and expansion that both of you could possibly have. And that's a really beautiful thing. Sometimes there's couples who they have a lot of difficulty in this lifetime but they have that deep connection, and a lot of times that difficulty is their souls working out that energy, and they're working out those old programs and growing together, and then they come out on the other side of it after doing this deep inner work, and they're in a whole new place together because they're in their expanded state together. So, past life contracts is a huge reason why you may want to get a past life regression done to figure out what are these past life contracts and what do I need to do to fulfill these contracts in the best possible way. Now, another reason that you might have a past life contract that might not be someone you even particularly like. It might be someone who you, on the surface, feel that you despise, and that's in the shadow as well. That could be a past life contract as well. And what's happening here is the longer you stay asleep to that fact and the longer that you continue to despise them, all you're doing is holding off the healing that is there for you in that strong emotional charge. If you feel really strongly about someone, whether good or negative, there's definitely something there for you, and because of that high amount of emotional charge, that high amount of emotional charge is there for a reason. Anytime something goes on in our life that is really, really big, there's this huge amount of energy that comes into the psyche to help us meet that challenge. And in that huge amount of energy is a ton of encoded information that we can decode in these past life regression or soul journey sessions. Now, another reason that some people are drawn to past life regressions are because they are trying to make up for wrongs that they've done in a past lifetime. Maybe they were the ones that damaged someone else's reputation in a past lifetime, or they murdered someone, or they did something else just really horrible, and they're still holding on to that guilt in this lifetime. A lot of people in that regard know that they need to go into a past life because they've already done a ton of work around this lifetime, but there's still this really deep-seated feeling of guilt or this deep-seated feeling of sadness or remorse or low self-worth. All of these things are clues that there's something in a past lifetime that we need to look at, we need to alchemize so we can move forward with that information integrated in the most skillful ways possible. So, those are some reasons why you might be drawn to doing past life work. And you also just may want to see if there's any nuggets of healing for you there. And that's beautiful too. There's so many different benefits that come from doing these past life regressions and really taking to heart the information that comes to you in the sessions. And I want to tell you a story about one of my own past life regressions. And I've had several over the years, but this is actually the most recent past life regression that I personally had someone take me through. And yeah, I am a hypnotherapist and I'm able to take myself back to past lives to get information, but there's really no substitute for having someone else who is skilled in holding space hold that healing space for you as you find your own answers. So I teach a quantum healing program that is really an amazing program. It's called QSM, and we train healers, all of this stuff, how to take people on soul journeys, do soul retrieval work, past life regression, really the next level of subconscious healing that goes far beyond surface level healing. And I had a really good student last year who is one of my favorite healers. He's a very, very vibrationally astute being. He's very in tune with that realm. He's very aware, he's very present, and I really felt this deep drawing and knowing that he was to do a past life regression session for me. So I told him, because in the program we have everyone has to do their practice sessions and they have to practice and master the skills before moving on to the next skill in the course. So I told him, how about you do your past life regression practice session on me if you're open to it? Because whenever I'm looking for someone to do healing work for me, I really want to make sure it's someone that I am really feeling a deep level of trust with on all levels. And we all pick up on those things subconsciously, whether or not we can really trust someone to hold that space for us and help us heal and not make things worse. Because there's a lot of healers out there, God bless them, that I wouldn't want to do a session with just because of I feel that vibrational discord. And it doesn't mean they're not good healers because we all have beautiful healing gifts. It's more that my energy field just doesn't resonate with theirs, and it's like certain things just don't go together. I was talking about this in another video in the Soul Expansion 101, which is also a great video if you're really getting into this stuff, wanting to learn, wanting to grow, wanting to experience. And in that video, I said, pickles and chocolate cake don't necessarily go together. Maybe in some worlds they might, but for the most part, that's not a really coherent combination. So that's the same way it is with healers. But anyway, I got off on a tangent. And so my student, I really trust him, bottom line. I really trust him. And I wanted to ask him if he would feel comfortable doing that because I really believe in divine timing and both people that are going to be involved in a piece of healing work are feeling resonating with that. So he wanted to. We went forward with the session, and I really had no clue where this session was going to take me. I've had several past life regressions in the past, and some of them, were more powerful than others. I had one where I was living in this mud hut. I had another one where I was a nurse and I was murdered and all this in California. And that was actually a more recent past life that had came to me through this type of work. But this session was the most powerful past life regression I have ever had. And it, it really gave me so much insight. So earlier in this lifetime, I really struggled with addiction. I was an alcoholic at age 21. I was a hardcore alcoholic, drinking as much as I could. I just wanted to escape reality. I thought that alcohol and drugs were God and that that was the answer to all of my problems. I would never have to feel anything again. And one thing throughout my addiction that I constantly felt and even carried over after I'd gotten clean and sober was this bottomless pit feeling, this feeling like I could never get enough. I could never get enough, couldn't get high enough. I couldn't get enough things that made me feel good. And it was this fear of scarcity that carried over into every part of my life. So when I did this beautiful session with my student, it took me back to a time a long, long time ago. And it was so long ago that my shoes were these just kind of like boards on my feet tied on with some type of rope, but these sandals. And I was a woman and I was a really shorter woman. And in this past life regression, I was in the scene, I was grabbing and catching all of these fish and I was hoarding them at my place of residence. And everyone else in my village was actually starving and there wasn't enough food. There genuinely wasn't enough for everyone, but I had more than enough fish for me. And they showed me some more scenes in this lifetime. And eventually it took me to a scene where all of these fish were rotting and all of these fish were going bad. And I was figuring out as this woman in this lifetime that I had overcompensated, that my fear was unfounded, that of course there was enough for me. But then I also realized that I had hurt other people around me because of this. I had really hurt them because they were starving, they were malnourished, and I kept vital life force from them by hoarding these fish in fear that there wasn't going to be enough for me. So I was able to re educate this past life personality and let her know the truth and let my soul, let my higher soul self know the truth about scarcity, the truth about abundance, the truth about my addictive patterns and my unfulfillable need for more. And something really shifted in me that day. After the session, I felt this really, really calm, overarching energy of love. And it felt like I was being wrapped in the biggest hug of deep divine love. And I didn't even realize how much that energy pattern of scarcity had been affecting me, even after doing so much spiritual work in this lifetime and even doing spiritual work to excessive amounts, that I was still holding on to that pattern of scarcity until that session. And I was able to let that go. I was able to replace that energy pattern with love. And I was able to move forward in a whole different way. And that affected everything. That changed everything. And that's how this work operates. That's the shifts that we get to have in these journey sessions. Reiki is great. You could channel Reiki all day long at someone, and maybe you can remove the energy pattern and fill it with love, and maybe that will stay for a while. But ultimately, if it's not pulled out from the root and that information is not integrated, how lasting of a change do you think that would be? It would just create the need for more of this surface level healing. Just like when you go out into your garden and you're pulling weeds out of the ground. You know, if you cut the weeds off and you put, I don't know, some pretty gravel over it, but you didn't pull it out by the roots, those weeds are going to come back. Our energy field is the same exact way. So we have to pull it out from the deepest roots. And then whenever we pull something out of the energy field, we need to put something in there that is preferable to really make that integration and make that change. It has to filter through everything that you do. How you do one thing is how you do everything. You can't do one thing for your healing and then go out into the world and keep acting on those old patterns and get ahead and receive healing. That's just not how it works. It has to happen on that deep level. But the beautiful thing about this is that you are going to really deeply heal and have a sustainable healing. It's not an overnight process. It's healing work is a spiral, and we always come back to these different points on the spiral kind of in a different awareness and a different energy. But then we keep growing, we keep evolving, and it's like peeling layers off of an onion. And some of these shifts are bigger. So maybe you pull a big chunk off the onion. Some of them are more small. Some of them are more subtle. Some souls prefer bigger, deeper, profound change at once, where everything opens up at once. They are blissfully in their next level. For some people, some souls, that's too much. They prefer a more subtle shift. But whatever your style is, be present with the energy that's coming up for you now. Be present with the energy that comes up for you when you look into your past, and always meet it with so much deep, deep love. So much love. That is going to help you heal more than anything, is just bringing that quality of divine love in. And you can breathe that in, you can visualize it all over your body. And visualization creates our reality, because everything that you're looking at right now was once a visualization before it came into physicality. This computer that I'm talking to you through, the computer you're watching me on, or your cell phone, that was in someone's mind as a visual before that creative process set the stages in consciousness for the one that followed, and then it came into physical form. That's how everything works. So when you remember to bring that love in to your visualizations, to your creations, that's when shifts happen. And some people, they really have a hard time with that because they're so analytical, or they're so science based. But remember, guys, that, and ladies and people, that the forgot what I was even going to say, but it was really, really good. Um, it was really important. So I'm going to trust that that'll come back. Sometimes that happens. So much information is coming through that it's like I can't get it out of my mouth fast enough, because I'm being told what to say through my guides and what the people who are watching this video need to hear. So just taking a moment to let that come back in. Yes, that's it. So the divine wants you to be creative in your healing work, because healing is more of an art than a science. The divine wants you to use your God-given creative gifts. That's why we have these gifts. That's why we can visualize. is because wants you to use that to create your reality. We all came into these bodies to have this experience, to have the contrast we have, to learn the lessons that we learn. Does that make sense? And one last thing about past life regressions, and then we will all go and enjoy our day and spread love out into the world, is that past lifetimes don't always occur on this planet. There are many, many different alternate time-space realities that people can have past lifetimes in. Some people experience past lives as a just a soul or a spirit in this place between lives. So never put your healing in a box. Always keep your mind open and keep your heart open and meet everything you're experiencing with so much love. Thank you so much for watching. It was such a pleasure spending this time here with you today. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like this video. All of this I appreciate so much, and it really helps these messages get out to more people and more souls that really need this work right now. And if you're wanting to learn how to guide people on these journeys and you want to learn from master healers, you can join us in our QSM training. Go to dgtwellness.com. And again, remember to subscribe, to like this video, and sending you so much love for your creative work and your healing in this world. Have a blessed day. We'll talk soon.